Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we are going to be doing an unboxing of Elder Scrolls Skyrim, the adventure game by Bethesda, also working with Modivius Entertainment. I'm going to do a quick little story about this game. At first, when I saw this game on Kickstarter, I was really thinking about backing it, but I talked to Steve over at the One Stop Co-op Shop, and he wasn't too keen on it after trying a tabletop simulator. Then he was sent the core game as a sample, and he brought it to Minnesota to play with not only me, but Colin, and we had a blast playing this game along with Terrence while they came up for what's called Lord of the Rings Con, which is at Fantasy Flight Games. So we were able to play Lord of the Rings a ton, but we also got to try out Skyrim, and after trying it out that one time, I was hooked, and I went all in on a late pledge of this game, and here it is. We've got the core game, we've got From the Ashes expansion, we've got the Dawnguard expansions. On top of that, we have the miniatures upgrade set, and to top it all off, we have a playmat to open as well. And if you're excited to see what's inside all this, then of course, I need you to meet me at the table. This is an adventure game in the world of Skyrim, which is in the world of Elder Scrolls. It is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 plus, lasts about 90 minutes to 180 minutes, depending on kind of how you play through the game. It's a very open world game, so it's really cool that you can see all these neat quests come out, take advantage of those, but you also have a main quest that your character is going to be on. This game, like I said, is played 1 to 4 players, though it's not necessarily a cooperative game. You can work together in the game, which is interesting on how it works, and hopefully I can demonstrate a little bit about that as I go through how this game unboxes, and maybe I'll be able to demonstrate that. But first, we're going to take the lid off, see what's inside this core box of the game, and have a fun time doing it. We have a whole bunch of bags. We're going to set those aside. We do have the rule book here, and under it is this adventure game book, scenario book. This is the cool part about it for me. This is the campaign that goes along with the game. You can play this game through this entire campaign. It has 2 different campaigns, the Blades and the Civil War, and it tells you everything about how you're going to use this book in conjunction with the core game. This game can also be played in a free roam type mode and also competitively as well. So there's many different ways to play this game. Next, right here we have our save board, our board save boxes, and all of our player save boxes, depending on how many you play with. You're able to keep all the cards and everything that have to keep your particular world persistent. And you're going to keep them right inside these boxes and bring them on out when you're ready to play again. You can save your game inside of these boxes. Again, to be able to give the feel that the game will save and come back out just kind of like in a video game style. The next thing we have, I believe, are going to be our character boards. Yes, they are. Here are the 4 different character boards. They're all going to be exactly the same, if I remember right, because the character boards themselves are not what makes your character. It is the character itself that you're going to be controlling. And each one of these things are going to be used for different things. On these, you're going to be placing like different resources you gain right here. This, I believe, is where your experience is going to go. Of course, I could be mistaken. Over here, I believe, is going to be magic, and this is going to be, let's see what this is going to be. I'll have to take a look. These are going to be your actual personal stats right here. These right here. These are going to be, this is your might, or what do you call it? Strength, I guess I guess you'd call it strength. Don't see why you wouldn't. Or no, it's not. It's health. This is your health, and you're going to start up in this area, and as you take health damage, you're going to go down. Now, this is what's called a final blow. You're going to stop when you hit this, and then if you go past that, that's when you could meet your demise. This is your stamina. This can be used when you're using different weapons and things. Each weapon may take a little bit more stamina to attack with. Down here is the magic. This is going to be the different, when you use spells, those are going to go down. And as you level up, they're going to be going farther and farther. And the higher you level up these skills, the more difficult the monsters and the dungeons and things are going to be in the game. It's an interesting way of how they do it. It's very similar to the way Skyrim goes. The more you level up, the more the game itself around you levels up. I want to quickly jump back to this because this is where your experience goes and this is where your gold goes. And as you level up, you're going to be putting tokens here to show how far you're progressing, is I believe how it works. This is where all the different items you're going to gain are going to go on here. And I believe this will be your backpack, your status and ailments down here. So you have everything all around here. And over here is where our character card is going to go. And over here is where our quests are going to go. And they're just going to line up this way and you get your character over here. This is a super easy way to do this. The next thing we have is our giant board. And I think to get a better look at this board, I'm going to open up my playmat so you can see it. Here is the complete world map, and it's nicely stitched on this playmat. Of course, the board itself is equally as big, and these are where you're going to be putting world quests and events that are taking place inside the world, and these are going to slowly go through as you play through the game, so they're not always going to be around. On top of that, we have our cities over here, and each one has different things that you can do inside of the cities. Also, as you play through the game, they may start falling into riot, and so you're going to want to keep them out of that. These are the different areas of the world, all in different colors here, showing the different factions of who is out there. And you can move around these boards, being able to take place different things in the world. Here's one of the cities right here. This is going to be one of the dungeons. This is another area you can go to. This is a wilderness encounter, and these are going to show all the different things that you're going to be experiencing while you're playing through the game. Depending on where you are, you're going to be doing different encounters. And like I said, in a cooperative system, you can work together in one of these to try to defeat what is guarding the potential treasures or the items you may need inside of these particular dungeons, or even these free roaming open area things here. And each one of these has a different difficulty depending on where you go. This one, for example, could be more difficult than this one, which is more difficult than this one. And again, I'm not exactly sure which the order of the difficulty, but just to give you an idea. And of course, there are those main cities in each of the different realms that are part of Skyrim. So this is a huge giant world that you're able to explore. Getting back to the unboxing, we have an entire set of punch boards. Lots and lots of stuff to punch out here. And basically, this is just going to be a bunch of tokens for myself. These are the gold tokens. These are going to be different ore. This is the rioting tokens, or they're called threat tokens, that are going to be part of the rioting. They're also going to be put on quests. And if you ever are not able to place one, I believe that's also a potential lose condition. You can buy horses in this game. These are the different places, things you're going to put on your starting thing to show where you are. You're going to be able to gain these different tags as you play through the game. And these are going to be, I believe, wandering monsters out on the board that are up here. And they have specific numbers of cards you're going to be drawing as you play through the game. The other tokens we have are our player quests, are down in these colored ones. Then, of course, we have just our regular quest markers that are going to be potentially from world quests and things of that nature. These are double-sided to equal 1s and 5s if you have them respectfully. These are going to be your experience tokens right here. And again, more tags that you're going to be able to add to give yourself more bonuses to certain skills and stuff. For example, we have enchanting, conjuration, illusion, things of that nature. Again, more wandering monsters out here, and again, different types of resources. I believe this is the first player marker, or the militia token, I should say. These are the magic tokens, and again, like I said, double-sided. Let's continue on, and I think we're going to be seeing a pretty much same type of thing here. Again, coins, these are going to be herbs that you're going to be able to use. So I believe heal yourself as you're playing through the game. More skills and tags you can gain. And that's really about it. A lot of them are pretty much the same. Let's dig into what we have next. This game comes with these neat pull-out boxes that can keep everything organized. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to keep sleeved cards. They don't stack all the way to the top, so I think you can sleeve them, and there is enough room in here to maybe keep these sleeved and still have them all in here. But I am not sure. I haven't done it yet. These are the cubes that you're going to put onto those different player boards that are going to represent the different armor, magic, the stamina, and your health that you're going to be putting up and moving up and down on those tracks. The other ones we have are just tracker cubes right here. And then we have that black cube right here is what it's calling that final blow, where if you don't go past it, you stop no matter how much health you take. And then from there, you have a potential to, I guess, die if you don't are able to roll it well enough. These are all the different skill dice. They are custom dice. The red one is an enemy die. That's what they're going to roll when they attack you. And depending on what they roll, you're going to consult the card and figure out what is going to happen to you. Hopefully that this is something happy. Maybe it sends you to a land of unicorns and bunnies. I'll bet it doesn't. These are the skill dice. Like I said, each one is exactly the same, but they have a set number of the different types of skills on them. So for example, there is 2 of the diamonds. There is, I believe, 3 of this symbol and only 1 of this symbol. So if you're rolling and it's telling you need to get this symbol in order to complete your skill checks, this is a very skill check based game. This would be a harder skill check to make than if it asked you to try to make that as your skill check. And depending on your your skills that you have will determine the amount of dice you're able to roll along with your equipment, your items, and any of the weapons you have. Speaking of equipment, items, and weapons, let's take a look at all of these different cards. We're going to pull them out and just take a quick look. I'm not going to probably spoil too much. I think these are really, they're random how you're going to get them, so I might show you a little bit of each of these, unless of course I feel they are going to be spoilery. Here are a few of the armor and weapons from the very beginning part of the game. For example, we get, what are these? A fist. Look at these, we get fists. I think let's start with fists. The way this works is then you're going to choose the type of way you want to attack, or I guess dodge. You're going to spend your stamina to do that, and depending on what way you decide to attack, it's going to do certain types of damage to certain types of, I guess, armor, you could say. And this is the type of skill check you need to actually pass, so it's a little bit tougher. For example, if I decided to use a, let's say, if I find a sword here or something. Here we go, an iron sword. Say I want to use an iron sword. Then I could pick any of these to try to attack with. Or I guess attacking would be slash and swing, and this would be like a parry attempt. And notice the difficulties are a little bit different, but also notice these symbols over here. This is how it's going to react to certain armor. If it's going against light armor, it's not going to do as much as if you try to do a different one that does more towards light armor versus heavy armor. It can also be sold and bought. It can be crafted. There is crafting in this game, and also you can enchant these as well by spending some of the resources to enchant certain items. And of course, there's also going to be armor as well. For example, we got ragged robes, which is giving us +1 to our sneak, so hopefully we can sneak up on people and do some damage before they see us. Or it also gives us 1 to our light armor, so if something attacks us and we're able to resist it with our light armor, we'd take less damage. Now, if we get it with a heavy attack, this wouldn't help us at all, but something up here I'm sure would. Let's see if we can find something. Here we go. For example, this will help us against heavy armor, but then if we get hit with a light armor, we're going to take the damage because that's not good against light armor. So it's a really kind of, I shouldn't say rock, paper, scissors. You have to just be very aware of what type of encounters you're moving into. Now, when it comes to enchanting and upgrading, for example, you can upgrade it with this or you can enchant it with this. There's 2 different ways to upgrade certain things. And all of these are going to be either enchantments or upgrades. This entire deck is. I'm just showing you one. I'm not opening it. It's not the end of the world. But for example, I could absorb health. I could heal 1 health after every encounter if I decide to enchant something with this. Or I could upgrade this and get +2 to a weapon, and that's going to go against right up next to your weapons, I believe is how it's going to work, and so you'll know you get +2 when fighting with a certain weapon. So it's cool that you can enchant, but remember, you have to either learn the skill, or if your friend has enchanting, you could go to the same place they are and ask to have your stuff enchanted. On top of that, there are spells in the deck as well. Here's one. It is Spark. And as you can see, again, you can choose which way you want to use it. You can use it either as this type of burst or a shock. It's going to cost you a certain amount of magic. Depending on the skill check you make, you're going to be doing certain damage, and certain things are going to be resistant to it. I believe this is like a magical defense. So if that character has that, they'd be able to absorb a little bit of this, or that's how much damage you're going to do. And if they have that type of armor, they're going to be able to absorb that. You can, I guess, craft it. That's something. Or you can even sell off some of your spells. And not only that, there's healing spells in here as well, so you can heal yourself or maybe a friend if you want to. And you can make potions if you find the right herbs out on the world or something. Here's a healing potion. I can turn an herb to heal 1. I can use a max of 1 of these per combat round, or I can buy it or maybe sell it if I want to, and you can craft those as well. And that's just some of the basic stuff in the game. I'm not going to show you this one, but I want to show you a little bit about this. This has to do with particular, I believe, cards that are going to be pulled in order to, or it's going to be part of quests that tells you to grab these certain things. And so you'll know to grab these special items out of these deck as you're playing through it, and these will be able to help you. I'm trying to hold it so there's no spoilers. I'm not doing a very good job. So there are those in the game as well, so it's not just going to be a random draw. Sometimes you're going to get certain rewards for completing certain quests. There are also statuses in the game, and these aren't like your typical poison and things of that nature. These are going to be things that are going to happen to you out on the world. For example, I would maybe have to take this after completing a quest, and it's called Thrall, and I'll have to complete this particular thing in order to make this go away or to gain the benefit of that particular status. So there's those in there. On top of that, there are those specific items as well. So there's a lot of different things that you're going to be able to gain through this game. Not only items and spells and things of that nature, but also statuses. You could actually become maybe a king, or you could become some scrupulous underground mastermind. You'll never know until you start playing the game and figure out what paths you're starting to go down when it comes to the quests. Moving into the bottom of the box, we have our player characters. these are all the different characters you can be, and there are a lot of the different races you may have seen if you've ever played Skyrim. The miniatures are pretty good. I don't have any complaints about them. They look pretty decent there, and they've got a textured base. I love it. This looks like a spellcaster. That's pretty awesome. We have here, what's this? This is I believe, just a warrior of some kind, which is kind of cool looking. I'm trying to see if we have, oh yes we do. Here we go. We have our cat creature. I apologize, I forgot all the races. It's been a while since I've played this game. It's been a long time since I've played Skyrim or any other Elder Scrolls game, but they do have standees for all of the heroes going through the game. Remember, there were those punch-outs that you could use for all the wandering monsters in the game, but there is going to be an upgrade that I'll be showing you soon to that particular thing. I have no idea what that is. We'll take a look. We have some stuff down here, and then this is going to be, I believe, our quest box, and as you can see, it comes with this divider here that is we're going to put in there so it's easier to find certain cards. All those cards are going to create an entire box of cards that go from 1 to, I think, 420 or something. 420. So those are all the different cards that are going to be part of this base box when it comes to quests, encounters, things of that nature. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. First off, here are our characters. You can choose any of these characters. They each start with certain powers. For example, this one is a person in charge of illusion and enchanting. This would be good with light armor and destruction. They kind of start with a little bit. Now, of course, in Skyrim, just like in the video game, you can kit them out to be however you want them to be, but this just gives you like a little bit of an incentive to start in a certain direction. On top of that, there are going to be events, and there's going to be that are going to be placed out on the board over on this side. There's going to be world events that are going to be placed out over there. You're going to have personal quests that you're going to be going on. There's so many different things. So, for example, here's one of the events. Now, these are from the tutorial, so I'm trying to spoil as little as I can, but these are all going to be part of the tutorial. First thing you're going to play, for example, the first one you might draw is Troll Threat. So it says here, someone disturbed a group of trolls. They are now on a rampage. Now, if you notice that symbol, you have to place that down either on a symbol like this on a card, and if there's ever two of those, this one is discarded or it fails, one of the two. I have to look, see how it all works. Or you can put them onto those cities that I showed you over here on the side, and they can become closer to going into a riot, and less, you're going to be able to do less in those particular towns. Also, it says here that this is going to be in this particular place. You're going to place your quest token in that place, go there, and then you're going to have to clear card 367 from this box. You're going to grab 367, you're going to see what it is, you're going to have to deal with it. If you're successful, you're going to gain 5 experience points. If you're not, you're going to place the troll token in a wilderness space. So I'm going to guess this is probably a troll, is my guess, but I don't know. And then let's continue on. There's many different events. Now, of course, you could potentially, this is going to be your quest. You're going to go on this quest. We're on, what is it, the Words of the Daedra. And I'm not going to read this right now, but this is going to be in this area right here. You're going to go there. You're going to have to complete the objective, which is clear one of these, which is going to be a certain thing based on the whatever challenge you are during the campaign. So we're, let's say, on campaign chapter 1, we're going to flip this over, and it's just going to show you what particular enemies are going to be in what particular types of locations. The top one's the easiest, the bottom one's the hardest, and those are out on this board. As you can see, there's one of those harder ones way up here, or there's one of the not so hard ones right there. The ones we're trying to find is this particular one right there. When we go there, we can enter into this little cave, I guess, and fight 2 of these. And then, for example, this is one of them, and I'm showing you just the very basics of what you're going to see here. In here, you're going to find the enemy. It's based on the sneak value that you have. You might get a chance to attack it before it can attack you back. Otherwise, it's going to attack you back, and it's going to roll its die. If it gets one of these, it pincers you, and you're going to take 1 heavy damage. If you have an armor that can handle that, then you're not going to have to worry about it. Otherwise, when you go to attack it, you're going to look at its track, and you're going to have to take down its hit points, and once you do, you're going to gain rewards or whatever that are part of it. And for example, that would be in our quest, we were able to complete that. We would clear that, we would turn the card, and if it says we were successful, we get a certain thing, and if we fail, this happens. Then you're going to read this, and you're going to make a choice, so it could be completely different the next time you play it. It gives you a little bit of replay value. I know this is only tutorial stuff, so it's probably not that much replay value, but once the game gets going, you don't know what cards are going to be coming out, because the decks are going to be potentially all kind of mixed up. Also, you're going to have city encounters, and you're also going to have wilderness encounters. There are 2 complete decks of those, and those are going to be anywhere from just gaining like like potential like loot. Like for example, this one just says you're going to gain these two, potentially using a skill check again, but then this time you're going to be able to use your skills that you may have gotten as you went through. So if I need to do this one, I would roll some dice and add whatever I have for that. If I'm successful, I'm going to gain certain things, and I believe new quest cards are going to come out for you just from going into the wilderness. You're going to gain this quest, and you're going to be able to try to go on that quest if you wish to, and hopefully power yourself up as you go through. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on in this game, and it's so cool that it just totally is just like Skyrim. It just branches off. Once you start going into the world, just things are going to fall into your lap that you can attempt to complete, and they're going to compile on top of each other. So once you complete one part of the quest, another one unlocks, which unlocks another part, which unlocks another part, which could unlock the finale of that certain quest, or it could branch off into two separate complete things after the finale. You'll never know. There's so many different things that could happen. Now, I believe everything in here, I'm guessing, is stretch goal material. I'm not really going to go through it. And you saw that little mud crab type creature, but look, there are all these different monsters that you could potentially find depending on where you are in the world or what particular creature you're supposed to draw based on the encounter that you've decided to take on as you go through the world. Now that's everything in the base game. Let's go ahead and take a look at all the different expansions that came with this pledge that I have. This next box is going to be, I'm guessing, pretty much all the miniatures for this game. It includes the Elder Scrolls Call to Arms Adventure Primer skirmish rules, so you can play this as a skirmish now. There are the rules for that. If you're interested in playing in that capacity, it tells you exactly how you can play in the skirmish type game. And here are all of the miniatures. These are going to take place of some of the what do you call them? The little tokens out there on the board. You'll still have the tokens out there to tell you what numbers to draw from, but you're going to be able to use these little miniatures instead out on the board, which is kind of cool. So we have all of these. I wonder if these might be two new characters we can use because they're in a different color. They're in the gray as opposed to the red, I'm guessing, are all the different villains you can have. And we'll move this to the bottom. Oh, here we have a few more things down here. This is, I'm sure, all part of the, what do you call it, these skirmish rules. Here's the dice for that particular mode of play. And then we have some cards that I believe are going to go along with it and may even be part of the actual Skyrim adventure game. I flipped the playmat over because this is going to use this side of the playmat, and since it is a skirmish game, if you've never played a skirmish game before, you're using like tape measures and you're moving your models around and trying to get into base contact or within a certain range in order to use certain attacks that are ranged against people. You're going to have all the different abilities of each of the characters. On top of that, you're going to have, I'm sure, what are going to be the actual enemies themselves are going to have, or not necessarily enemies, but I should say you're going to have not only individual characters, but you're going to have potentially units out there. Like here, the Twin Blade, Dumar Twin Blade Sheathed Blade. I'm not sure if that's an individual or if it's a group of them and that you see out here. I know there are cards that have to do with adversaries out here. I'm not, again, I apologize. I don't know much about this mode of the play because I haven't played too many skirmish games since my Warhammer days, so I haven't played them in a long time. But this does have a lot of different things going on for it, which might be really cool. I might have to dig into this a little bit and see what I think. So for example, here are Nord Vampire, and they're going to have certain stats. I'm sure I'm guessing they're bad against light. Their tactical abilities here, how far they move, things of that nature. It's all going to be in there on their cards is my guess. What do we have here? We have Orc Headmaster or something, Headsman. And he's got models, I'm sure, and he's going to run around the board, and he's going to attack each other. Now, again, this is a definitely competitive game. There's no cooperation here. You're going to be fighting basically your group against another person's group, or even more if you're able to play with up to 4 players, maybe. But I'm guessing it's more of a 2-player skirmish game. But on top of that, you can use these miniatures in the actual game itself. Like here's a troll miniature that we could use in our game for the Skyrim, and when instead of putting that little token on the board, we can put a troll out on the board like that one card told us to do. So that is the miniatures set. It is really, like I said, it's a purely, the rules for it is purely skirmish, but these miniatures could be used for any part of the Elder Scrolls game. Let's take a look at the Dawnguard expansion. The Dawnguard adventure game is going to be an expansion for the core game. It's going to set you in the ability of gaining more quests, more things, more awesome that's going to go along with this. It comes with its own instruction booklet that has, or I shouldn't say instruction, it's an adventure game Dawn book, rule book, and I believe on top of that also is going to have the scenarios in there as well that you're going to play through. This is probably going to have some minor things that are going to jump into here that are going to expand the game, I'm sure. Then on top of that, it does have new tokens, and it even is going to add things things to the map to change what's out there, which is really cool. It looks like it's going to be adding vampires to the game, and on top of that, it has more heroes that we might be able to use. And again, as you notice here, see the numbers on these? The quests are going to get bigger. We're going to have more items that we're going to deal with. You can even become a vampire, it looks like, because you can get vampirism, which sounds pretty sweet. There are going to be more events in that way, and there's going to be even more dungeon challenges, which is going to give us more enemies in here. This right here is something I didn't touch on before. This is an ally card. They can join you, and you're going to be able to help alongside you when you're fighting. So when you go to fight, you're going to roll the enemy dice, but use this character to help you. They do have allies in this game that can help you out. So again, big, huge add-on to this game, giving you more quests, changing the board a little bit, and giving you the ability to become a vampire. I think there's also a couple other potential roads or factions you could join inside this compared to what you normally would play as when you start with the core game. Some of the things they are going to be adding is a day-night cycle, since there are vampires, and there's going to be different factions such as, I believe, the Dawn Guard, and there's also, of course, going to be those vampire factions as well that you're going to be able to have to deal with. And there's going to be vampires that come out on the board according to these little tokens here. Another faction is the Vigilance of Stendarr, I believe, are going to be part of this. Now, sadly, I don't know too much about this particular faction stuff. I didn't get that far in the game. It wasn't that good. But it does look like during the day and night, it's going to have different things that affect not only you, but any of the vampires that are part of it. So it's kind of cool. It does add kind of more of a, I'm going to say like a gothic, ooh, it made noises, a gothic little experience to the Skyrim game. The last expansion I have is from the Ashes. This is going to be more quests, more fun, and more excitement for your Skyrim game. It's going to give you, these are all awesome miniatures. Look at them, they are in blue, completely blue. These are kind of undead type characters. I think this is going to have, like, you have a giant dragon as one of them. You're going to be fighting a giant dragon. You're going to have smaller quests. There isn't a large overarching campaign, but it does add smaller quests. It adds more enemies to the group of enemies that you may fight. It's going to add more powerful rewards that'll help you probably be able to take down this dragon. But as you can see, it doesn't come with an actual quest book, but that's okay. You can, I believe, add all of this straight into your core game. You do not need to wait till you finish off the core game to be able to add this stuff. I think you can add this right away, but of course I may be wrong about that. It does tell you a little bit about the ghosts of Cyrodiil, and yep, that's about all that's in here. I don't want to open too much of this, because I don't want to show too much of what is in this as spoilers, except for what you can actually see here, as if you were to open the box, what you would see. But it does look, like I said, it goes up to 700. Remember, our original box went to 420. This one's up into the 700. So there is a ton of content just in those two extra expansions that bring the game up to almost 700. It's like almost double what's in the game box. So that's pretty awesome. I'm really excited for this dragon. I think it'd be kind of cool to take him down. I'm guessing one of the harder creatures in the game. But of course, as we level up, we might be able to take him down. Who knows? So there you go. That is Skyrim, the adventure game. This one's super fun looking. I had a great time playing it when I was with Steve, Colin, and Terrence from the One Stop Co-op Shop, and I'm excited to dig into this right away and super fast get it to the table. Oh, this is going to be great. We might have to paint up some of those starting miniatures so we can see what they look like. Now, I don't know if I'll get a chance to paint up all those miniatures, but at least we have our starting character ready to go. We'll be able to take him on. I think we'll start with the tutorial so you can see exactly how this game is played and see how all the mechanics work in conjunction with each other. Then we might go into the campaign 1 just so we can get a taste of what Skyrim is, and we can continue through this game. Oh, there's like, what, three campaigns plus that extra one inside the Dawn Guard. I think there's 3 chapters even in the Dawn Guard one, but I think it's 3 chapters of one campaign. Oh, I don't know. We'll have to take a look. But Skyrim is going to be super fun. I'm really excited to get to this one. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when Skyrim comes out for a playthrough. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comments below. I would love to hear from everyone. If you're interested in supporting the channel, my Patreon link is located in the description, and the people that have already joined the Patreon are located here on the screen. Thank you so much for all of your support. Some of the perks for being a Patreon member is you're able to help decide what characters we play with, what games we do play, what characters and things we paint in my live painting sessions, and also you can help me decide how to upgrade our characters as we go forward in the game. For example, for Skyrim, I'm going to let my Patreons decide which one of those characters we are going to play as we start through our adventure in Skyrim. So if you're interested in joining that, please feel free to check out the link. And also join Colin and I every Monday. We try to play a game together. Right now we're in a huge Oathsworn campaign, but we also sprinkle in some other games here and there, so please feel free to join us live. This is Skyrim, the adventure board game. Again, thank you so much for watching. And if you're excited to see Skyrim or anything else, then I need you to meet me at the table.